What's going on, Facebook? We are back with a live video for the second time in 2 days, and it probably was 12 months ago when I did these. So I'm testing this. Let me know if you have some positive or negative feedback on this format. I'd love to hear it. But if you're watching live, type live below, or replay, which the majority of people type replay below, just so I know this is getting out there. And I appreciate you gaming the algorithm so this gets a bit more reach. Live videos are largely ignored these days, but this one's going to be valuable because it's about how to avoid that summer slump and actually make progress this summer without, foregoing the fun. I'm not telling you to, sit at home all weekend long, but there is a way to avoid that 5 pounds that adults tend to gain this time of year. Like in a lot of cases, people go pretty good from January to June, and they maybe lost 5 pounds, even if they're not really with a coach or a specific program. They're just kind of going on their own, and they're doing okay, right? And then those 5 pounds they've lost to that point of the year are gained back over this 2 month window, and they end up right back where they started by the end of the year, right? Because that's what happens in nature. So we want to rewrite the story this summer and show you how to stay on track with the caveat, okay? Because the summer pattern is real. Like a lot of the research backs this up. You have a calendar that looks pretty positive most of the year in terms of fitness goals. You can line it up, but then, June wobble, July is completely off track. August tends to follow suit, and September is this hard restart, which is best avoided. Okay. So it doesn't mean not having fun. It's really just some small shifts you can make that will really compound over the next 8 to 10, 12 weeks. Okay. And these are the 4 things that generally happen that get people so off track. The routine collapses. School ends, the kids are out of school, you maybe have some more vacation time, but your gym slot basically disappears. You're managing kids, your routine is off. Like you usually go at this set time around your work schedule, and now that's changed. And most people just don't replace the routine. They just don't have one for 2 months, and they're surprised when things go to hell in a handbasket. Of course, there's the social pressure. And then, hey, it's the holidays, it's summer, and barbecues, patios, vacations, beers, late nights, all fine in isolation. It's just when it becomes your default setting for 8 to 12 weeks, that's when you get yourself in trouble. Okay, so the I'm on vacation mindset shouldn't leak into an average Tuesday in July when you're working. Okay, like you don't need a beer to start the day. Number 3 is hydration drops, but sun goes down later and sleep suffers, so it's kind of a combination of those two where you're naturally getting more sun, which is a good thing, but you have to keep on top of your water intake, and it's more natural to stay up later, wake up earlier because of how the sun sets in this part of the world. So both of these are going to drive hunger, slow recovery, increase appetite, like I talked about. And then the all or nothing response. You miss 1 week of the gym, camping trip, cool, but don't all restart in September and then you've gone 2 months without working out. Like maintaining muscle is actually really easy. Like 1 to 2 full body routines a week, if you can squeeze those in, you can at least preserve where you're at. So always better to do something than nothing. I think that should be obvious. All right, so part 3 is how to avoid this. So this is the framework I've set with clients. I did a training on this last week. If you want the replay, certainly type replay below. But number 1 is to set a minimum effective dose. Like what's the minimum I can get away with? Not this big elaborate summer goal of losing 10 pounds, but like what's your floor? Define your floor. So example, maybe you're going to the gym religiously 4 times a week over winter. Now you're looking at your schedule like, this week is not going to work for that. That week might not. So what's the floor is 2 full body routines. Maybe worst case scenario is 1 full body routine. You can surprisingly at least maintain muscle with 1 resistance training session a week, by all accounts, if you're challenging yourself in that workout. So that's the floor. Maybe it's 6,000 steps versus 8,000. But that's really the opportunity in summer is movement, like making up the difference in more movement, more steps, more rec sports, more, just hanging out with the kids, having fun. And then have protein as your base with every meal. No matter if you're eating out, they have protein options at restaurants. So that's just randomly 3 examples of what that floor might look like to at least maintain some semblance of a system in place. Okay. The goal is not to like get optimal results. It's kind of a cruise versus like sprint, and not dig yourself a big hole that it takes you 4 months to climb out of. Strategy 2. I already kind of touched on this, but having some non-negotiables. So it might be sleep, still having a consistent bedtime throughout the week, you know, trying to have, again, protein with every meal, trying to have movement every day, things that don't take a whole lot of time and effort, but do make a measurable difference in the results. Number 3 is just look ahead, plan for the off-track weeks, because you will have them. Maybe you've got a camping trip planned. You know your diet won't be dialed in that week. You don't have access to a gym. Maybe family's in town 1 week. Maybe you're on an actual trip the other. So accept it now. You're going to have off weeks. It's trying to maintain during those weeks. That's going to be the target. Okay. So the re-entry protocol when you come out of that is to get back onto your routine as quick as possible. So maybe day 1 back, you're back hitting your steps, you're hitting your water intake. Day 2 might be meal prep, getting some protein back into your rotation. Day 3 might be getting a gym session in. And then, you know, by day 4, you're starting to get your sleep and all your routine and everything back into place. Do not like crash diet or detox after a vacation to try to make up the difference. That's going to just lead to that binge purge mindset, right? All right, and then last but not least, strategy 4 is, and I talk about this a lot, is use summer as an identity test, not a vacation away from it all. That's the mindset piece, right? The person who makes progress, the people who are most fit are still in the gym in July and August and December, unlike the average person. That's why they look the way they look. That's why they get the results they do. So it's about becoming this identity that doesn't take summers off just because, who takes care of themselves just because. You know, ultimately when you have that identity tied to being a person that works out, you will make it happen. You'll find the time. You'll make it a non-negotiable priority for yourself. All right. So I think every week you show up in September, you know, summer, unlike previous years, is reinforcing that new identity that you must develop to get results in this department at last. And every week you write off because of one slip, you're reinforcing the opposite one that always gains weight over summer, always falls off track. All right. Okay. And then last but not least is find that rhythm. So your September to December routine probably won't work in July. Like, don't force it. Find the summer version that still gets you moving forward, gets you closer to your goals without sprinting to your goals. Maybe it's bodyweight training, you know, with bands versus a full weight routine. Okay, so I think summer, if you reframe it right, is actually a great opportunity. You're moving more, you have more time, the sun is out, you're feeling like you're in a better mood, you want to look better in your clothes and swimsuits, so do the right things that help you with that. Okay. So, the summer slump, it's not inevitable. The people come out of summer ahead of where they started, do a few things. They have that minimum floor they set, not some major ambitious goal unless they're into that. They protect their non-negotiables, sleep quality, protein with every meal, movement. They have a re-entry plan when they deviate too far off track or go on vacation, and they don't let their identity take summers off because the new version of you doesn't. That's what gets you the outcomes you want. All right. So if you want help building a summer plan, it doesn't require you to be perfect. 5-2 system, kind of calorie cycling if you have to give it a name. Just drop a DM with the word summer. We'll talk next steps. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Appreciate you being on. Talk soon.